Everybody's favorite, overhead and profit. In your opinion, when contractors is entitled, when we can charge for it and it's legit, and when we shouldn't, or your position, overhead and profit?
This is a very debatable topic, probably why you chose it, Dmitry. But it doesn't make a lot of sense because even the commissioner of the Texas Department of Insurance has made it clear anytime there's more than one trade or service to be provided, O&P is proper. Now, why is it that O&P isn't being provided along with any other payment on the claim? That's easy. 9/10 of the law is possession. Well, the insurance company has that money and they don't want to hand it out. So that's basically the only reason why I can think the insurance company isn't paying O&P, because it's pretty clear, more than one trade, it's owed and it has to be paid. And I defer all the rest of my minute and 10 seconds to Steve.
Good, because I got 3 minutes on this topic.
We all want to know this answer.
I got all kinds of, first off, respectfully, Chad, that's not what the commissioner's bulletin says. All right, the commissioner's bulletin says that if GCO&P, general contractor overhead and profit, is properly payable on a claim, it must be included for purposes of determining the ACV. For example, 15,000 sub costs, 3,000 GCO&P. You can't base the ACV on the 15, you gotta base it on the 18. That's all the commissioner bulletins say. That's it. Nowhere does it say that the insurance company has to pay GCO&P on every claim. Under Texas law, under the Tolar case, GCO&P is payable when the involvement of a general contractor is reasonably necessary. That's for purposes of the ACV. It's a subjective analysis. You just look at it. How many trades are there generally? You look at that and you decide whether it's payable there. Whether GCO&P is payable on an RCV basis, it has to be reasonably necessary, and it has to be actually incurred. There are those words again. So that's when we owe it. Only when the involvement of a GC is reasonably necessary. The biggest concern I have is that the question you asked, when is overhead and profit owed? All right, and that's the question everyone asks, and that's the wrong question, because it doesn't differentiate between roofing contractor overhead and profit and general contractor overhead and profit. I agree, roofing contractor overhead and profit is owed on every claim. But that's not the 10 plus 10, all right? The roofing contractor overhead and profit is all baked into Xactimate. I'm sorry, it is, right? You add up the line items, that's how it works. The items on the bottom, GCO&P, the 10 plus 10, is entirely different. And that's what we look at to say, okay, is the involvement of a GC reasonably necessary? If it is, we put the 10 plus 10. If it's not, we don't. And the contractor, the roofing contractor's overhead and profit is in the line items.
Chad, take a minute back.
If I may, thank you. I'll say early on, I had a PA who had a claim, adjusted it with the insurance company. They paid everything but O&P. He asked if I could help. I said, sure, even though it was O&P. And it wasn't a mansion, it was a modest-sized house. What was interesting is the roof covering, there were torn architectural shingles, hail hits, water came in, there was sheetrock repair, you name it, there were at least 3 or 4 trades. And on every correspondence and the conversation that was up on the roof or around the property was, we don't pay O&P, we don't pay O&P, we don't pay O&P. I sent a notice of representation. I get letters from the insurance company, we don't pay O&P, we don't pay O&P. Okay, fine, get it, you don't pay O&P. Well, at the end of the day, even though I was only going after O&P, they paid O&P. But before I took that check on behalf of my insured, who, by the way, they were expecting this guy to oversee all of the services that were involved in the repair work. He was an elderly gentleman and he was blind. So my question to the insurance company was, what, you expect him to oversee all the work being done to his house? So I made them put 4 O&P in the memo on the check.
Look, there it is. I agree. If an insurance company has a policy that on all claims they never pay general contractor overhead and profit, I will tell that insurance company that that policy or that condition, or let's say it differently, that position is not consistent with Texas law. I agree, that's wrong. If that is the position they take, that we never owe it, it's wrong. Again, we owe GC O&P when the involvement of a general contractor is reasonably necessary.